Today on High Desert Tactical, we're going to drop test the Glock 43. No. What? We're not drop testing the Glock 43. Come on! When the Glock 42 came to the market, it wasn't very much time until people started wishing that it came in 9mm because there's a lot of people that aren't a 380 ACP fan. They feel that it's underpowered and doesn't have enough penetration. There's a lot of proof out on the web that the 380 ACP is a very sufficient round for self-defense. The thing about the Glock 43 is that it's larger and a little bit easier to handle, especially for people that have a bigger palm size, and that makes it a unique gun, especially for people that are, familiar with a 9mm and more comfortable with that round's capabilities. Nonetheless, both guns are very accurate, very good for use, but today we'll be testing the Glock 43 and seeing how it suffices in the handgun world. When you actually hold the Glock 43, it really doesn't feel much different than a Glock 42. I don't really have one here to compare the two side by side, but from what I remember when I did the 42 review, they feel real identical in the hand. I definitely can feel a weight significance between the 42, what I remember, and with what the 9 or the 43 is. And it's slightly heavier for sure. The other thing too, a lot of people want to talk about how it's real similar to the size of a Glock 26. It really doesn't feel anything like a Glock 26. It's extremely thinner, even though the measurements by number wise don't seem like a big difference. But this gun definitely is a lot more comfortable in the hand for a compact Glock or a subcompact. So I really prefer the feeling of the 43 over a 26, especially when it comes to a concealed carry 9mm. One thing I noticed when shooting the 43, it definitely means that the 9mm has a little bit more juice to it. It's a lot harder to hold on to, even with the finger extension magazine in. I have a hard time trying to keep a constant grip. One of the bad habits I have anyways is resetting my grip when I shoot, which I've been practicing to not do, but shooting the 43 makes that extremely hard because my support hand keeps like shifting as the gun is cycling, and it's actually kind of frustrating.
When I was shooting the Glock 43, I really found that it was a lot snappier than the Glock 42. It kind of made it a little bit harder to reacquire a target as I was shooting, but realistically this is kind of like a pocket pistol. It's not really designed to be shot at a long distance, but overall I did feel I was very accurate while shooting it. The trigger on the Glock 43 was a lot heavier than the 42 from what I remember. The 42 seemed to have a lot shorter take up and a much crisper break in the trigger, and it was a lot lighter. When shooting the 43, it really felt like I was shooting your standard Glock 17 or 19 trigger setup. Overall, that's not so bad because you don't really want a whole light of a trigger for concealed carry or a self-defense firearm. You want to make sure that you're dedicated when the time comes if you need to actually pull that trigger.
Glocks are notorious for not functioning correctly, especially when not gripped properly. So one of the things I like to do is actually do a limp wrist test on them. I was able to prove that a Glock 42 can be limp wristed if not held properly. So I'm going to actually limp wrist test the Glock 43 as best as I can. I'm going to fire 6 rounds. I'm going to fire 3 rounds with a two-handed grip but as light as possible, still keeping control of the gun. And then the next 3 rounds will be a one-handed shot, basically trying to hold it with 2 fingers, I guess. Do the 2-finger limp wrist test. But here we go. So loose grip on 2 hands. So still functions properly. So now we're going to try doing it kind of open-handed, one-hand test. So the Glock 43, at least from what I can find, because I've done this actually 2 other times, is that it's fairly difficult to limp wrist, which is kind of a good thing in my opinion. If you were ever injured and had a weak-hand, or you are a person that doesn't have, you know, a strong grip on a gun, but still wants to be able to use the semi-auto as a self-defense purpose, a Glock 43 would actually suffice for that. So that's kind of cool. So in conclusion, with the Glock 43, I feel that it's a good gun, just like its predecessor, the 42. It's definitely comfortable, easy to shoot, fairly accurate, and I feel that it's even more reliable than the 42. Being that it's a 9mm, it definitely is going to carry a little bit more lethality when it comes to a self-defense situation, but I still wouldn't let somebody, you know, judge the 42 on that, because it still could be a very good gun for self-defense purpose. It just depends on how much you want to pack and where you're going to pack it. Other than that, you guys take care, be safe, and I will catch you later. Thanks for watching.
If you like this video, I got plenty more on my channel, so go ahead and check them out. And if you want to keep tabs on what's going on with the High Desert Tactical, hit the subscribe button. Show a little support by clicking on a like or dislike and let me know how I'm doing.